So you want, or maybe you need, something expensive. How do you get it? Frugally. In this video, I'm going to share tips to help you do just that. And stick around to the very end for a classic quote you do not want to miss. Welcome, I'm Amy, and here at Frugal Over 50, I give you tips and tools for frugal living. Hola a todos! El día de hoy les voy a compartir tips para comprar cosas caras. Number 1, identify. Is this an emergency/necessity, or is it something that can wait a while? When you're thinking about expensive items, I think this is the first thing that you have to consider. If you're in the middle of having a heart attack, you need to get to the hospital. That's a life-threatening emergency. Whatever it costs, you gotta go. If it's a major purchase that you are considering but don't need in order to sustain life, you can wait a while. If you have a car that maybe has another couple of years of life left in it, but you're starting to think about another one, this is a good time to be thinking ahead. Those are two very different extremes of types of expensive purchases. One is a service, medical care, that will help keep you alive, and the other is a transportation need that's expensive, but that you don't have right at this exact moment in time. Identifying, is it something I absolutely need and it's an emergency, I have to have it right now, or I can wait a while, will help you determine what is your next step. So take a moment, even if it's half a second, and ask yourself that super important question. Emergency/necessity, or it can wait a while. Number 2, keep a budget. I have a budgeting series I'll link up above and down below where I talk about keeping a budget generally. And that's what I'm talking about here as well. You don't want to think about your budget only when you're in a financial crisis that has just hit you all of a sudden. You want to be thinking instead about your budget and about your financial situation at all times. This may or may not be of immediate practical use in the exact moment of a financial crisis that hits out of the blue. But it does give you a sense of where you are financially in your life right now at all times, so that you know what your current resources are going forward. This especially is helpful if you're planning on an expensive purchase that you can wait a while on, that you can save for, that you can plan for. But even in an emergency or a life-threatening type of crisis, you at least go into that knowing where you sit financially, and that will help you take concrete and helpful next steps. Number 3, look at the expensive purchase and ask yourself, what is your goal for the purchase? Now, obviously, if we're talking about an emergency, we've already identified it's probably to save your life. Anything else, your goal may be multifaceted. It may be something very practical, and it's okay if it is something impractical. When you're thinking about expensive things, you may be thinking about something that is indeed an expensive luxury. I just did a whole video about luxuries where I talked about luxuries that don't have to cost you anything. But what if you want to save for a luxury that will cost you lots of money? You want to plan for it. Well, you've got to know your goal. And I mean that in a very comprehensive way. I'm starting to think about doing some more traveling in the next 5 years, and I'm already thinking about, do I want to stay at an Airbnb or a hotel? I'm thinking that concretely. Do I want to eat in the hotel room or the Airbnb? Or do I want to go out and eat at restaurants? So it's not just about the destination and getting there, but how I'm going to navigate all of that. I have a few years ahead of me to plan and think about that, and think about my goal, not just as the overarching, I want to travel, but think about the pieces of the goal. And that is super important, because then it will help you with the next steps. Now, if you're getting value out of this video so far, would you give it a like and consider subscribing? And if you'd like to contribute to the growth of the channel, click the link below for coffee, where you can make a one-time contribution or become a monthly member. Let's go on and talk about number 4, brainstorm ways to meet your goal. Let's use my I want to travel as an example. That's really general. And so I'm thinking about specific things. I want to stay in a hotel. I want to eat in the hotel room and only eat out every so often, but I want to go to cafes. These are things that I'm thinking about. But I also need to brainstorm how I can make it happen. This could involve taking on a weekend job from which all income goes into a special savings account that's just gonna go to travel so I can pay for those hotel bills. We should all be brainstorming, how can I make my goal happen? And you might want to put it up on a whiteboard or put ideas into your notes app on your phone. But think about your goal and think, how can I make that happen? I'm brainstorming things like maybe traveling by doing a workaway so that I can volunteer and then have my food and lodging provided for. I'm also thinking about, could I do a year of teaching English somewhere else? That would be super fun. There's so many things that I could do to brainstorm how I could get more travel into my life in a few years. And whatever your goal is, I hope that you are absolutely popping with ideas right now. Tell me, what expensive thing is coming up in your life and how are you brainstorming? What ideas do you have for how you could get it into your life? Number 5, do a small or even a free version of your goal. Let me tell you about mine. It all started a couple of years ago when I discovered a Korean drama called Vincenzo. I don't want to give away the plot. I will say I recommend it. It's wild and wacky and wonderful. But the thing that really got me was that one of the characters spoke Italian along with Korean as part of the plot and also loved opera. Well, I was trained in opera singing as a young person and always loved the idea of that culture, and so I thought, this is so interesting. Next, I found a drama that was set partly in Korea and partly in Spain. It's called Memories of the Alhambra, and the characters, both Korean and Spanish, spoke Spanish to each other, and I realized I still understood Spanish. And that's where I started my journey of returning to hablar español. And I started thinking about speaking a little bit of Spanish here. I watch a lot of Spanish on YouTube. I created a whole Spanish language video. I'll link it up above and down below. And I started taking Korean lessons. I am deeply awful at speaking Korean right now, but I can read Hangul. I can read just about anything you put in front of me, even if I don't understand it. And my Spanish comprehension is like 100%, and I can speak anything that I want. This was a small and free way that I could bring places that I want to travel. I want to travel in the Spanish-speaking world. I want to travel to Korea. I could bring those into my life right now for almost nothing, and I can continue to enjoy studying the language, the culture, the food, right where I am. And then when I'm ready to travel, I'll be so ready. Tell me what you're doing to bring your goal into your life right now. Number 6, following up from number 2, the budget. Keep a special savings account, or at least a special line item in your budget for the goal that you're saving for. This seems like a no-brainer for some of you. You just do this automatically, but I'm sharing it for those of us, hello, who need to hear, you know what? If you want to do something big, you're going to have to save up for it and plan for it financially. And I'm always like, oh, really? It doesn't just drop out of the sky? You see, I am the person who has the Frugal Living channel because I need to learn frugal living. So I am telling myself, as much as I am telling you, when you have a big goal, plan on saving for it. Plan on saving up for that thing that's coming in a few years that you can't see quite around the corner. Have that special line item in your budget. Even if you can't save much, maybe just a couple of dollars a paycheck. It keeps your mind sparking on your goals and it'll keep you moving forward. Number 7, on the other side of this and also related to the budget, if this is an expensive emergency, do what you can within your powers at the moment to clarify your financial situation so that you can understand how to do basic things like keeping a roof over your head and food on the table, if that is possible. And it will give you the information that you need as you reach out for the help that you also need in order to start paying for this emergency. Sometimes in the heat of an emergency is not the time to be thinking about the specifics of this. But if you already have your budget set, and you can clarify your finances little by little as you're going through this process of recovering from your emergency, or even in the middle of it, if you get a few minutes of headspace that you can think about it. The clearer picture that you have of your financial situation, the better you'll be able to provide for your basic daily needs, and the better you'll be able to reach out for any help that may be available to you to help you pay for or to help you otherwise get what you need in your emergency. Number 8, I want to reiterate that if this is an expensive luxury, make it happen, but make it happen your way. So for instance, you want a yacht on the Mediterranean. Really? Do you? Do you really want the expense of that yacht? You gotta be a multimillionaire or maybe a billionaire to handle that. But maybe what you want is the experience of going on a yacht. Make your experience happen your way. You could save up for a vacation on a yacht on the Mediterranean. You could take a job as a chef or a crew person on a yacht on the Mediterranean. I don't know why I'm fixated on a yacht on the Mediterranean. It's never been one of my goals, but suddenly it's all I can think about. You maybe have something that you're thinking, I would love to do this, but oh my God, it's so expensive. Is there a way that you could make it happen that works within your lifestyle, that would make you truly happy, that would make your goals attainable, and that would give you the possibility of seeing the world in the way that you want to see it from the perspective that matters to you? Whether it's from the yacht on the Mediterranean, or home wrapped in a quilt watching your favorite Korean drama, or traveling the world teaching English, or tramping the woods in some far-off forest looking for mushrooms that are different from the mushrooms in your own home forest. Think about your expensive luxury and then think, you know what? I think I could make that happen. I wonder how. And think about how to make it happen your way. Number 9, for those of us who are cheapskates, think about the cost of buying versus the cost of not buying that expensive item. And here I'm talking not so much about the luxuries and not so much about the emergency/immediate need/crisis things, but things that you could probably make do with something for a while, but maybe it would benefit you to buy a new one, or at least to research a new one. Sometimes, for instance, I put off buying new shoes. I walk a lot, I go through my shoes fairly quickly, and I benefit from planning to buy shoes pretty regularly, like about once a year. Now, I don't like to do that. I don't know why. I resist spending that money. And then I get foot pain, ankle pain, knee pain, back pain. And what do I do in response? I stop walking. That has a bad impact on my overall health, both physical and mental, and then it cycles into something not so great. If I would just spend the money on the good shoes once a year, this would save me so much money later and give me so much happiness and health right now. So in that instance, considering the cost of buying versus not buying, it's easy. When I have the money saved, it's time to buy. And I could save all year for the next pair of shoes. What do you have in your life that you're thinking, I could go on with this, but it would really benefit me more to go ahead and buy it or to start saving so that I could get it? On the other hand, sometimes it's fine. You don't really need the new fancy thing. I talked to you last week about the fancy haircut that I got that cost a lot of money and I didn't like it and I'm still working on getting it fixed and it should be fine by the summer, I hope. But I didn't need to spend that. That was not an expense I needed to incur or a cost I needed to pay. I needed to be happy with what I had. But I think it's important for us to ask ourselves these questions. Look at it with clarity and also with foresight. Speaking of clarity and foresight, the Roman philosopher king Marcus Aurelius said, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, and to love." Wherever you are on your frugal living journey, take the next step, whatever that next step is for you, whether it's expensive or inexpensive or anything in between, and know that you are not alone, and I am so proud of you. Live frugally, change your life, and together we will change the world. I can't wait to see you again soon. Nos vemos pronto. Bye!